Thanksgiving, just because it's too big of a project to get all in one time. And especially the cafeteria, we're gonna strip all that old VCT up, do a sealant and waterproofing, and then re-adhere all that. That takes 6 to 8 days, and we wouldn't have enough time over the break, over Thanksgiving break, so that may get punted to around Christmas time. But knowing with all that, everything is in motions, we're just basically day by day trying to get these things knocked out. And I think that's all that I have, at least all that I can remember. I got a lot on my plate, I'm sorry.
E3 lighting project, where we at?
Yeah, they're finished with all the lighting. We're doing the punch list now. The mechanical, they've set everything at Barrow, they're reconnecting. They did everything at the high school today. We're reconnecting. Following that, we're gonna work on the support building in Wild Peach. The 2 chillers will be Thanksgiving break.
Specifically the lighting.
The lighting is finished. We're just doing punch list now.
Exterior and interior.
Correct. Going through, make sure we hadn't missed anything.
And that's all part of that,
Seco grant.
that Seco grant, right?
Yes.
The meter you was talking about on the water well, what kind of, is that for like chemical users?
No, the electric meter.
Oh, electric meter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're gonna have to put,
So Mr. Felder was telling me that in his experience, you have to have a separate meter. It's as clear as mud to me, but a separate meter in case there is an issue with, say, the ag barn, there's a fire, the meter shorts out. They want the well on typically the light company and the fire department wants the well on a separate meter so they still have access to water, being it's unincorporated. Really, what's to burn there? Hay, maybe some feed. We're trying to work around and find out if there's any possible way to consolidate the ag barn and water well in 1 meter.
You wouldn't get enough water flow out of it to put a fire out anyways.
It's the blind leading the blind, I'm preaching to the choir.
I can make a couple calls tomorrow and probably figure that out for you.
I'd be grateful and helpful.
Anything else?
No, ma'am, that's all that I can think of. I'm sure I'll walk out of here, I'll think of something else, but at the moment, that's everything. Unless y'all have any specific questions or concerns.
Any questions? Good. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank y'all.
All right, we'll do the instruction report.
All right, first thing I have for you is several different things tonight. The first thing is lunch prices. On the next board agenda, you'll actually have, every year we set lunch prices. There's a calculation based on funding, usage, and what's the term am I looking for? Enrollment, participation. And so what's gonna happen is, as right now, keep in mind, we'll still be the CEP program where all meals are free in all 3 elementaries. We had to make that application. At the secondary level, right now, our breakfast prices at the junior high, Columbia High School, is $1.25 for a breakfast. That will be increasing next year to $1.35. And the lunch prices at both schools will be increasing from $3.50 to $3.75. So that's required. So just to give you a heads up, our next board meeting, that'll be an action item for you. But in the possibility that school starts before our next meeting, that's why we wanted to make that announcement. Okay. Next thing I have for you, if you've paid attention to the news, the state of Texas has now said that they're going to be releasing the 2024 accountability. If you can remember, there was a lawsuit that tied up the 2023 and 2024 accountability. We've shared the scores with you, you know that. We shared the 2023 accountability. You do have a document in your maroon folder that has the 2024 accountability. So we just wanted to put that in front of you so that you can see that when it comes out. Again, those overall scores, those are not student achievement scores. Those are scores based on the accountability system and the way the points are. So. again, that's the 2024, so we're a little over a year behind there, but we wanted to make sure you got those. Next, recent legislation. I did put a document in your folder. There are some legislation. It's stapled for you. I did put it in the board letter this week in the email. There are some things that you're going to have to take board action on, so thought maybe we could have just a little informal discussion so that we can, there are a couple of things we do need to put on the board agenda here pretty soon. So looking at this document, you have House Bill 1481. It says, boards must adopt a written policy prohibiting students from using personal communication devices, including cell phones and smartwatches, on school property during the school day. When this bill started, it was originally during during classroom instruction, and then it got tamed to an instructional day, which would be the time that the bell rings to start instruction to the time the bell releases them to leave the school today. So while they're when they come to class and the bell rings to go to second period, third period, passing periods, go to lunch, no. Bell rings to end school, yes. So anyway, we've got a set of policy that cell phones are not allowed during that time. Then we also have to announce what's going to happen. So with that, some schools are buying like lockable devices, just like anything else. The latest and greatest is out, and Jeff and I some schools have already spent money, and now there's a trick that kids can open it there. I mean, it's one of those things. I'm not really interested, unless you are, in buying a bunch of devices for kids. I think the way to go would be that the student needs to store it appropriately to where it's not seen or used during that time, whether it be in their book bag, purse, pocket, whatever it may be. So in the past, if we want to go way back when, if a student got caught with a cell phone, they were subject to the normal student disciplinary code of conduct, which generally meant the first time something happened was going to be a warning. Generally, the second time something happens, it might be maybe a after-school detention, and then it evolved into in-school suspension, and then possibly even DAP, depending upon the number of times. With that, we also had a rule. The law allows us to charge up to $15. I mean, we could take the phone, and when we charge $15 to get the phone back. During the middle of all that, one of the reasons we went away from that in the past is that legislation came out. So if you have a teacher who takes the phone, is bringing the phone to the office and drops the phone and breaks the phone, we are now responsible for the replacement cost of that phone. So, just the whole ball of wax, let's keep that in mind. If the phone, we've had this situation happen before where there was a break-in, and we had a small safe, and they took that and phones disappeared with that safe. We are still responsible for that. So keeping all of that in mind, we do need to have a discussion about where we think we might want to go with this. We've talked in the past, kids today, when a kid has a cell phone, giving that up, in the de-escalation practices, we don't ask our teachers in the classroom to fight that battle. We ask them to call for administrator. Administrator comes, removes the kid and take the kid to the office, to where now we're not in front of an audience. We're not having that battle in front of an audience. That's what we do not want. So that would be a process that we would continue. We don't want that in. Number one, kids would blow up easier in that situation, and teacher as well. So we would like to continue some of those practices to do that. But anyway, we do have to give guidance on what we expect the student storage of that device to be. So again, kid shows up on the bus. We could allow kids to use it on the bus. We could not allow kids to use it on the bus. Number two, kid gets to the parking lot or on the bus, it's okay. Kid comes into the school, before school, sits down and eat breakfast in the cafeteria, it's okay. Bell rings to go to class, it's okay. Bell rings to start class, stop. And it stays stopped until the bell rings to end class at the end of the day. So on his or her way to the bus or his or her way to the parking lot, okay. Now, keep in mind, it's instructional day. So if you're a kid and you don't have a 7th period, you can't pull it out after 7. You can't start using your phone after 7th period. It's the school's instructional day, right? It's school time, not what your individual schedule time is, okay? So that's gonna be a problem for us because, you know, we have not study halls, let's call them dual credit time because we're on, you know. So again, we do have some kids that could possibly use your phone, right, in a dual credit time,
On their phone.
right? So
They may be watching their college lectures.
videos and stuff.
Videos.
So we do have some inherent problems here. It's not cut and dry. I don't think our intent was mean to hurt kids. Right? Our intent was to keep control in the classroom. But because of the way the rule is, we could have a group of 60 kids that are in dual credit. Because it's online, we have a collaboration area for them, and if they sit there, they could be doing dual credit work, watching a video with headphones on, not interrupting anybody, and yet they're breaking the law. So it's not just gonna be easy.
But each kid has a Chromebook.
Huh?
Each kid has.
We're a one-on-one Chromebook, right?
Oh, that makes it.
No, right. They should have our Chromebook, yes.
And they can do their college stuff on that Chromebook as well.
Yes.
For the Jordan, yes.
But the answer, the deal is, they could do it differently as well. Right. So you can see the deadline to take action is September 18th. Again, I would think we would probably want to start the first day, how we're gonna be, so, we're gonna go, when we get to the budget areas of this, I'm gonna tell you that we're gonna take our first action, but before our regular August meeting is on August, I think it's 19th, which is we start school on August 13th. So I'm gonna ask you to have a meeting maybe August 5th, I think, is that Tuesday, to do the next part of the budget, but as well as to take action. That would allow us to make an announcement of what those, what those guidelines are gonna be.
I know y'all will, but just, we need to make sure that they know this is coming from the state, not.
Yeah.
I understand, so several different school districts are putting out some stuff, but again, there are no decisions.
Right.
And so it's created some Facebook controversy depending upon where it's been, right? And it's going to. We haven't done it because we don't want to create that controversy until we know.
Yeah.
All right? So,
We haven't come out with any suggestions
so
yet.
TASB has, they have sent us information asking us what we're gonna do so that they can send us language that helps you adopt that. But again, I appreciate them asking for it, but we need to know what we're gonna do. They don't need to prepare 8 different things for us, right? So my question would be, are you okay with a statement that says they have to store it themselves? They are responsible for that. Okay, so that's easy. Number 2, when they get caught, are you okay with a system that has it's a progression, right? A warning,
Yes.
and it progresses.
How you gonna keep up with the progression?
Assistant principals do that. Every time there would be a discipline notice.
You get caught, you get written up.
Right.
Is that on like a daily basis?
Yeah. No, well, it runs a semester.
But I mean, so if you get one warning on Tuesday and you have it out on Wednesday, do you get a new warning? Or that's now
No.
infraction number 2?
No. Correction number 2. Now, again, these are in office, right? They have to be reported to office. They have to be a discipline notice, right? That's the idea. That's the official. Right. Our problem would be is that if in the classroom, the teacher says, put it up, put it up, put it up. But again, that's no different than it is today,
Going on right now.
okay? So that's not a new issue. That's an issue that we already, right? We already have. So again, it would be the official discipline that happens.
How's that working out right now as far as how many times we gotta say, put it up, put it up?
It's gotten better, honestly. Getting the whole campus on the same wavelength. It's not, you can't have them in class, can't have them in class. It's gotten better. But you're always gonna have the kids that have it out, and you're always gonna have the teachers that let it slide a little bit more than others.
And just, you know, I just don't wanna see y'all have to fight a battle all the time. And me, it's like,
Not up to us though, is it?
no, it's just, it's a waste of your
It is.
time.
I agree.
It's a waste of your time, and you take the temptation away, it's cut and dry, keep it simple,
Yeah.
and that's my thought.
And
Because
so,
if the temptation's there, it's gonna happen, you're gonna be policing all day long.
So-
Well, and to keep it simple, you don't use it at all during
Right.
the day, at all, not during this, but not during that,
Right.
and it's okay. That,
Right.
to me, is harder to police.
Certain teachers allow it and certain teachers
Yeah,
don't,
no,
Right.
you know.
and so, and again, that's there. We'll do, I'm sure they'll do the best we can. All right, so now we'll establish that it'll follow the regular discipline code, like just a kid it's like disruption to class, right? It'll kind of follow that same process, progression through the discipline cycle, okay? So now, let me ask you, how do you feel about the fees? All right, so as an example, one school that we've talked with, you know, the first time it happened is a warning. The second time it happens, the phone gets taken, the parent has to come get it, it's no charge. The third time it happens, there's discipline assigned, and they charge $5. Parent has to come get it back. The next time it happens, discipline $10. The next time it happens, discipline $15.
And the parents have to
And
continue.
and do that. And then any other time after that, $15 as well.
Okay,
So,
I'm good with that.
I think if you tell them they got 10 times, they're gonna take 10 times.
right,
I think
or you
if
can
say
jump straight to
you get
15.
caught once, you don't get your phone, they
Don't jump right to
likely to put
15.
it away.
I mean, it's spelled out, we got, you know, it's saying right here on paper that, you know, no phones during instructional time on
I
campus.
agree with you.
You know,
Yeah.
don't sit there and, pander to it, just
Yeah.
cut and
Can you
dry.
imagine, me as a parent, I'm gonna go once and get it.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. You know,
Right.
that's it. If I have to go get it again,
You know, just speaking as a campus principal in the past, when it went from the old plastic flip phones to the iPhone, it got real quick. I mean, that conversation, hey, give me your phone, changed real quick. So, anyway, okay? So we'll do that and bring something to you, so the next time we meet, look for something that you'll be able to take action on, okay? Next one, Senate Bill 401, the board must adopt a policy if they do not want homeschool students to participate in UIL activities for the 25-26 school year. Last year, right, in previous years, you had to take action if you wanted to them allow them, which meant they couldn't. So now this rule has changed. If you do not want to allow homeschool students in your district to participate, you have to take action to say no. If you take action and say no, what that does is now allow a homeschool student who last year would have been denied, right? Because you voted no. This year, if you vote no, it gives them a right, if the closest district to their house that does allow participation, they now become eligible. So it could be 75-mile drive, but if there's a district within, you know, the closest one, they become eligible. They could go participate at that school if they could make arrangements and work it out. So,
there is no benefit to it, right?
well, to me, I mean, we provide stuff for the kids that are enrolled here.
Right.
That's the way
We're
we've
not
always
getting any-
looked at
We're
it.
not getting
If
any.
you allow a kid to participate in band, now you gotta buy the band uniform. You allow a kid to participate in football, you gotta allow the
And
football.
there's no state funding coming in for.
No state funding whatsoever for that.
My stance on that is we continue doing what we're doing.
Right.
Have we ever had anybody ask?
We have, I'll give you an example last year, you know, one of our last years, we had the shooting team issue, where we had the kid with cystic fibrosis that was concerned. I mean, this would have solved that problem because that kid could have participated. Now granted, shooting team's not UIL activities, but a lot of things use the UIL, no pass, no play type deal.
I had a parent reach out to me about this just a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah. So.
Wanting to know what our stance would be.
Now, again, charter schools, vouchers, I mean, just so you could, I mean, quite honestly, to understand the system, you could have a kid leave our district, parent get voucher to go to a different school, and then still come back and participate here. I just don't know if that flow works for me.
And it has to be black and white.
Well, to answer your question, yes, you're either gonna allow it or you're not gonna allow it.
But that's not just homeschool kids, it's charter school kids also?
To me, this is homeschool.
Okay.
But you, I mean, like, if you had like a small private school somewhere, or maybe a homeschool group that gets together,
Oh, okay.
you know, it's meant for truly homeschool, right? And there's a whole formal, if it's gonna be like an athletic participation thing, there's a whole process to do that as well, right? There's a whole eligibility. Hey, the homeschool kid has to approve, there's an eligibility criteria that they have to. I mean, whoever the homeschool teacher is gonna say he's not, I mean, you know.
A lot of work on
It
us
is.
for no,
It is.
when they're not even we're not getting paid, not that it's
Right.
of money, but it comes,
Well,
we're
it
not
does
getting paid
take
for
money
it.
to participate.
It does, yeah.
So we don't have-
So when would we vote on that
The next time we meet, I would, I mean,
Kind of this in with that August 3rd or whatever meeting you was talking about.
Yeah. So what I'll do is, if you're okay with it, I'm gonna put it on the agenda that I'm gonna vote to not allow, and then y'all can just let it go, however, somebody can make a motion either way, and we'll see how that goes, if that's all right. Okay. Next one, Senate Bill 13, boards must adopt a policy with revised provisions regarding the acquisition of library materials. If you remember, you're gonna get, this one's not, you're gonna get some guidance from TASB on this one. And, you know, the idea is are you going to go out and start the library advisory committee? Or are you not gonna do that? And if somebody, if the right number of parents ask for it, then there's a process for it. So the question is, do you wanna start it up front? Or do you just wanna continue as normal, and then if parents do and trigger the clause, then we would do what's required?
Continue as normal.
Okay. Senate, next page, Senate Bill 12. Boards must adopt a policy for appropriate discipline of employees for intentionally or knowingly engaging in or assigning to another person diversity, equity, or inclusion duties. Remember, this one goes back to that there are new guidelines, and then everybody that works on the campus or in the district is responsible for the guidelines. Meaning, if it's a math teacher and there's a structural aid and something happens to a structural aid, can't say, oh, the teacher told me to. You're still responsible. Or, oh, I didn't know. Everybody that works with kids is responsible for knowing the rules, and the rules do not give you any cover. Okay. So again, this one will be coming, you don't have to do anything specific. This one's gonna be coming from TASB. Next one is Senate Bill 12. Boards must adopt a policy for the appropriate discipline of employees, including termination, who intentionally or knowingly engages in or assigns to another person an act prohibited by the controversial topics law. So you'll get guidance from TASB on this one as well. Again, this is the same thing. Everybody under the roof of the school has to know the rules, and up to, so there could be discipline, up to termination, depending upon the consequence or the issue. Senate Bill 12 and House Bill 12, boards must adopt a policy establishing a new grievance procedure that complies with Chapter 26A, under which the board shall address each grievance that the board receives concerning a violation of a right guaranteed. As part of this policy, the board must include notice and an opportunity to respond to teachers or other employees against whom the complaint is made. So, anyway, that'll be coming through TASB as well. Just a clarification, you've had your level 1, level 2, you've had your board grievances level 3. We've been through that process. Again, House Bill 12, the Board of Trustees of a school district shall adopt a policy prohibiting an employee of the district from assisting a student enrolled in the district with social transitioning, including by providing any information about social transitioning or providing guidelines intended to assist a person with social transitioning. In other words, the response is, I can't help you. So, again, that'll be one of the things we covered in our administrative trainings for the beginning of the year, right? We always tell kids right now that we want to help, we want to provide guidance, but one of the things you say up front is, I am required. If what you tell me meets a certain requirement, I can't keep that to myself. I have to inform someone, right? So, okay?
So is that gonna be guidance coming from TASB or?
Correct. And so when you look at that section and it has employee conduct, they're just gonna add those things into employee conduct. And so you're gonna get an update, like say one we just passed, update 125, so update 126 is gonna have all this information. And so when we get it, we'll have options that we choose locally. And so when you adopt, like update 126, what you're adopting is those local policies. The general ones, when it says, DEC legal, that's the general guidelines, those are automatic. When you're adopting DEC local, which is the local options we choose. If we have a choice. Okay, next page. Senate Bill 12. Boards must adopt a policy establishing a parental engagement policy that, 1, provides for an internet portal through which parents of students enrolled in a district may submit. Looking at it, as you can see, it talks about instructional materials and library materials. Our problem is going to be that if it's something that's in the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, nothing in here, it doesn't say, there's no opt-in. It says, if it's in the Texas Essentials and Knowledge and Skills in which the kid will be tested over, this is not allowed. That's the concern.
Question number 4 of
Right.
the STAR test.
Right, that's the concerning part of this, right? It doesn't happen very often, but again, hopefully this is a conversation that's a productive conversation and we can solve any of those problems that we need. Turn to the last page, additional notes. Board meetings must be held outside of typical work hours, we know that. Here's a change. Notice must be posted 3 business days instead of 72 hours in advance of the meeting, right? So, you're looking at us having to post, so what's that? Tuesday, so Monday, Friday, Thursday. So we're gonna have to post our board meetings on Thursdays from now on. So, then, board, and I'm looking forward to this one here. Board must prioritize public comments. Well, we got that one. Board meeting must be recorded, and new requirements as to the minutes of board meetings must reflect individual votes and be posted on the website within 7 days of approval. So that's the first time I've seen approval there. Our concern is that we do a board brief, but we were concerned the minutes were gonna have to be posted within 7 days of the meeting. This means the minutes have to be posted within 7 days of approval. So we will follow the normal process of where we'll do the board briefs, but the minutes that have all the voting issues, voting records and stuff will come to the next meeting. And when they're approved, we have to have them up by the 7 days from the board meeting when you approve them. So, anyway, good information. So we'll begin the next time we meet, hopefully we'll have some of that to you. And that's all I have for the instructional report.
All right. Financial report, Ms. Julie, you have some good
You
information?
have the financial statements from June, but we pretty much went over this when we went over the final budget amendment, and nothing has changed since then for the June period.
Anybody have any questions? I think we beat that dead horse enough.
It's coming up on the action item, so.
Right. All right. So the bond report.
Everything's going good. Moving along, we're still on schedule for the opening of school, August 1, we're ready to go. Things look good. Band Hall, the expansion there is looking as great as well. So the new area, the renovated area, if you want to call it that, will finish first. Then a week after that, the current band hall is getting a remake as well, and it'll be ready about a week after. But by the start of school, by the start of band, the renovated band hall will be ready, and by the start of school, the current band hall will be completed and ready to go. So they'll be able to have band. That may have an issue in July when they bring the freshmen in for early learning or whatever they call it. I hate to use the word boot camp, but whatever learning they have to get them ready. They may have to go down to the junior high to have access, for that. But it's going to work out. Yeah. But we're good to go. We did. I'm looking at the other projects we did this past week. Have a 50% design meeting with Drimala and with PBK on the Ag Barn. Answered a few questions, gave some more direction. I think we're looking good. The plan is that by the middle of August, we should be to a point where they're at like a 75%, and that it will allow Drimala to actually price that project so we can see what it'll cost. Now, what we're doing is we're paying to have the plans, right? Regardless, we're gonna have the plans of what we want that thing to look like one day when it's done, what we want that final product. What it'll do is allow them to price that out, and we can look and see, hey, can we do some of this now? Can we do this? Can we do that? And how much can we do and go for it and what? So anyway, so long story short, we were talking about, that arbitrage and looking at where we're at and our projects. Justin, I think, left, but hopefully by then we're going to have roofing information. We'll have Ag Barn information. We'll have an update on where we're at with the bond projects that we have and the projects that we've been doing. So I would say, end of August, I'll be able to set directions.
So the concrete drive back here that got pulled up,
Yeah.
That's gonna be paid by the bond?
That's correct.
How much was that?
That is right at $300,000.
When do we think the driveway and all that would be?
This drive, so hopefully the main drive through the front of the school is going to be ready at the start of school. And even if it is, we're going to have it blocked off because we're not going to be using it. But that whole area by the 1st of October should be completed and gone. So, where you see all that dirt, that's going to be another big parking lot for about 100 more parking spots out there. And so you'll have the current, what we call the ag drive, is going to come in. It's going to bend around and come right in front of the band hall and tie into the current parent drop-off loop. So from now on, when band's leaving, they're going to have Avideck, 10-foot Avideck in front of the whole band hall, be concrete up to the foundation of the building. And so from now on, they'll be able to pull their trailers up, load. They'll actually have 1, 2, 3, actually have 3 doors to load versus the one they've had. If it's raining, they'll have cover, all concrete. I mean, it'll be much improved process for them.
Any other questions?
On these projects that are, being funded by the bond, would it be, I know you got a list of them and you got them color coded and everything, but wouldn't it be an idea for us to go ahead and rank them 1 through a ranking number of an order of importance? Or not? How do you-
That's up to you. So, I mean, this process has been, we talked about at the beginning of the bond, was the last piece of asphalt. And we said from the beginning, we wanted that last piece of asphalt to disappear. And so, on that document, which I don't have tonight, I'll have for you the next meeting. If you could remember, I said, the blue side is that, the yellow side's this. This has always been included in that yellow cost.
That drive?
Uh-huh. Right. And so I had the drive, the furniture, I mean, the carpet for the hallway and the top of C building, the bottom of C building, all of the student center, new flooring, and the auditorium in front of the auditorium, all of that's in that yellow cost as well.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? We'll move to our action items, if not. All right. So we need to set a date for adapting our tax rate. If someone would like to make a motion to approve the meeting date of August 19th, 2025, to discuss and adopt the 2025 tax rate. All right, Ray made the motion. Would someone second?
Second. Go ahead, Jackie.
All right, Jackie seconds. Is there any discussion about that? Does that date work for everybody?
So in that will be, basically, we'll be coming in the October 19th meeting, talking about the current tax rate, or what are we doing there?
In the August meeting,
Yep.
Julie's gonna provide the information to you to adopt the tax rate.
Okay.
That's a regular board meeting, right?
That's correct.
All right, so we have a motion by Ray and a second by Jackie. Would all in favor say aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Carries unanimously.
So do you wanna explain to Greg the process, Julie, about getting the information from?
We'll get the information from Casey. They'll actually calculate what our tax rate needs to be for our INS to cover our bond payments, and what they project that we're gonna collect on taxes. And then the same thing will be on our M&O rate. That's usually set by TA. They cap us off at 69.
Because of the compression, right? And so, appraisal district, you'll get information, same thing, certified taxing values, right?
Yes, because they have to certify by the end of this month. And then we'll get that, and they'll use that to come up with our tax rate for M&O and INS.
Any questions, Ray? Okay. All right, we'll entertain a motion to approve the district improvement plan. Would someone like to make a motion? I'll make a motion. Okay, Becky made the motion, and a second. Ray made the second. We were given that information ahead of time. Does anybody have any questions or want to go over anything?
Yeah, it's a living document, right? You're approving it. Basically, you're saying we have it. Okay? That's what your approval really is. We have it. It's a living document. It gets changed. It gets updated. If our funding changes, if our federal funding changes, all of those, basically it says, here are our goals, here are our activities, here's what we want to do, here's the strategies we're using, and here's the money we're putting behind it from the budget. Right? As things change, again, you saw, I gave you some information that said that, on June 30th, we had our budget meeting. Well, while we were in that budget meeting, the federal government released an announcement that they were freezing certain federal funds. while we were talking about that, right? 3 days later, we get the information in a letter from TEA that says, hey, we're free, here's the heads up on this, and that amounts to about $158,000 that we just talked about, right? So long story short, if that $158,000 doesn't come and it gets frozen, our district improvement plan has to change, because we'll have to take those things out of it because we don't have funding to do those things, right, and those activities. So
I read this document pretty thoroughly,
Mhm.
and, you know, there's a lot of stuff tied to goals and stuff, the way I read it.
correct.
So what happens, what's the repercussions if the goals aren't met? Any?
All of our goals are based on the requirements that we have, right?
So is this like a boilerplate document?
That is correct. That's highlight, I mean, that's not the nitty gritty, that's just, that's the rainbow up there. Right? Yeah, you're exactly right. So, long time ago, there would be certain questions like, if we were applying, there used to be technology infrastructure grants and things like that. And to be able to, the number one thing to be able to apply was you had to have a district improvement plan, and it had all these requirements. It was a way of making sure that you had that organization and structure set up, you know, your lanes and columns and stuff that people were working to do. So yeah, it's a. You want to add something?
Oh, it's tied to our federal grants that we have to have goals and objectives to. And if we don't meet those goals, then we have to figure out what the needs assessment is and pivot and change our goal for the next year to see if we can't help better the program in order to meet the goals that we set. And it ties to the money that we are receiving from the federal government.
Okay.
Anybody else have a question? Good. Okay, we have a motion by Becky and a second by Ray to approve the district improvement plan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, unanimously approved. All right, item number 3, our interlocal contract between Damon ISD and Columbia Brazoria ISD.
In this document, everything is basically the same. 2 changes. On the second page, under instructional services, we added that all Damon High School students that enroll in CBISD at first opportunity will be considered in-district students and will be eligible for all services and opportunities, including the paid dual credit opportunities. Damon High School students not enrolling at first opportunity must apply under the CBISD and open enrollment guidelines. Meaning, long story short, in-district means that if you're a transfer student and something happens, or let's say you stop coming to school or you get in this problem, we actually have the opportunity to eliminate that transfer agreement and not kick them out, but make them go back to their home school. What we said that if the Damon High School students come here on first opportunity, we will consider them, meaning we'll take care of them. Wow. Now, doesn't mean they get any special. I mean, they would have to follow the disciplinary guidelines, right? Anyway, it's just a clarification for their purpose. And then under the maintenance and transportation, certified craftsman, disciplinary student placement, we did increase those costs as well.
You know, the services are listed there under payment.
And
that we
this,
offer.
I want to say we've had this agreement, if I remember right, since like 2013 or 2014. We've been doing it a while.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the interlocal contract between Damon and Columbia Brazoria.
I'll make the motion to approve the interlocal contract between Damon and CBISD.
Thank you, made a motion. Would someone like to second?
I'll say.
All right, Greg. So are there any other questions? Comments? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, it's passed unanimously. Now we've got the rental fee schedule. Would someone like to make a motion that we approve the revised facility rental fee schedule?
I'll make a motion.
Becky? A second?
I'll second.
Ray? All right, you want to go over that?
Mr. Miller?
So what you have in front of you is the facility rental fee schedule. We have not brought this to you since I've been assistant superintendent, so that's going on 9 years. We haven't had an increase in prices. So what I have in front of you is it's broken down by group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. Group 1 is someone that wants to rent our facilities. That's a for-profit organization. The second, group 2, is nonprofit, just general nonprofit organizations. Group 3 is nonprofit youth organizations, meaning they pretty much service 50% of half their group. It has to be CBISD students, or the majority of the group CBISD students. And then we have educational groups, which are your school groups that they have no charge because they're ours and they fall under our umbrella. So first change that we did on the original, it was always a 2-hour rental charge. Well, we have some people that don't want to rent facilities, mainly basketball teams and et cetera, that an hour is enough for them. So we've changed that hourly rate, or that rate, to simply per hour. So what you have in front of you is the suggested price by groups with the percent increase that we are suggesting. That percent increase was we developed that by taking a look at other school districts in the area, the ones that we could find information on, specifically Angleton, Pearland, HISD, and then a couple schools I found in Central Texas that are our size, meaning they're 4A, similar size schools. And so we tried to come up with nice round numbers, nothing, have $2, nothing, five and tens that fit what we were looking for, and this is where we came up with. And you'll see that for the most part, the prices are still pretty reasonable. What does that cover? That covers the cost of power for the actual facility and the electricity and air conditioning and those things of that nature. So if you have any questions about this, the administrator, the fees, the worker fees on the bottom didn't change because those were priced competitively with everybody, competitively with everybody else. If you have any questions over anything, I'd be happy to answer any.
So when they have church at the different campuses, who has the key to let them in?
We give the main person.
Main person a key?
They're allowed to distribute that to their leadership
No,
team.
sometimes the security hired are our officers as well.
Okay.
And so,
So if they don't have to hire security, they just have a basketball team using the gym?
It depends on like when Calvin has his tournaments, he always hires security.
Okay.
But if he's having practice, like he practices at pretty much every campus in the
Right.
district, and he doesn't, because it states down there, if there's gonna be 100 attendants, they're required to have a security.
Well, so if they don't, does Calvin have a key to get in? Does someone
Calvin
let
does
him
that,
in?
yes.
So what's the procedure if, say, I just call up and say, I need to use the gym for,
So what happens is you have to go through the campus principal. The campus principal has to approve, find out, get your proof of insurance, make
Okay.
sure if you're saying you're a nonprofit organization, show proof of nonprofit. They'll look to see if their facilities are available, have you fill out a facility request, and they ultimately will have to sign off on it saying that they're going to let you use the facility. And then they'll have a discussion with you about key. Here's the key, I'm giving it to you, you're signing it out. At the end of your stay, you'll be returning this key. If you're doing it for 3 months, if you're having basketball practice for 3 months. Sometimes particularly a lot of the basketball teams that practice after school, the facilities are already open because we have custodians here.
right,
The ones that usually get the keys are the weekend,
okay,
because there's nobody here for them. So, and that includes usually the churches, the 2 churches in Calvin for his basketball. And then Mr. Casper used to, when he had his
Yeah,
volleyball.
volleyball.
Yeah.
So they have the key for the term that they're renting or,
Correct.
okay. So I see the administrative thing, but an administrator doesn't have to be there during that time.
That is
Correct.
correct.
They do have to use our custodians?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now, if our custodians are already working, if they're having basketball practice in the gym from 6 to 7,
Right.
We have custodians already on staff that are there till 10 o'clock, we don't charge them. But on the
Okay.
weekends, if like, say Calvin's gonna have a tournament from 8 in the morning till 8 at night, he's required to have a custodian there all day.
Okay, that's all I needed to ask.
And the only time we actually have had administrators on duties most of the time is when we host playoff football games or playoff, anytime there has to be an administrator there.
Right.
Anytime we've had a couple dance recitals in the auditorium, we'll hire out technicians to use scoreboards, to run scoreboards, to sound systems, et cetera.
Okay.
So the time allotment, they go ahead and identify like 6 to 10,
Correct.
and y'all,
So what happens is, so like, for example, Calvin, he'll put or the churches, they'll put every Sunday, every day they want it, from this time to this time. And then we'll calculate the rate, the hourly rate based on the number of hours times the number of days. Once the principal approves it, it comes to me, I make sure that the insurance is there, and then I assign the fee, and then it goes to the business office, which sends them an invoice, and then they pay it.
so the field lighting is $40 an hour on top of the
Correct.
175?
Which it's not usually a problem for the little neck, and specifically the only people that really affects is the little necks until we get to daylight savings times. I think they have maybe one Saturday where they might need lights to get through their games on a Saturday. They're at the end of the season. But that light fee was that was the only one on the bottom that went up. That fee went up $5 per hour to make it competitive with everybody else.
All right, any more questions? Good questions. Okay, we have a motion by Becky and a second by Ray to approve the revised facility rental fee schedule. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Okay. Next, we're going to, someone would make a motion to approve the proposed 25-26 budget amendments.
I'll make that motion.
All right, Ray made a motion, and we'll get a second so we can discuss it.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you, Becky. All right,
All right, so you have two in your maroon folder. You have two documents. The first one's 2 pages, and it's says Columbia, Missouri Independent School District 25-26 budget expenditures, all funds. There's again 2 pages. Then there's another stapled document that says Columbia, Missouri ISD Business Office Memorandum. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4 pages there. So if you get those 2 documents out, and then we'll let Julie take you through this process.
Okay, so after our meeting last month, where we discussed the deficit agenda, we talked about the $200,000 and the different, some of the accounts that we had said we wouldn't spend. So I just did an amended budget to take those out. I also was able to update the salary spreadsheet where I had been using projected pay on people's, then when we actually hired someone, it might have come in less or more. And so we adjusted all those budget codes. And so when it was all said and done, if you look at the one page that has the 66,000
The very bottom.
on the bottom, that was the difference. So it was in our favor, so it wouldn't be a deficit as long as we're getting from OKC what they said we'd get, which we haven't adopted that yet. That'll be the next month. Then we're kind of at a balanced budget. So
Before we move forward, so you get that. The first document shows that 66,668 at the bottom, meaning that's the money to the good. But again, we can't adopt a budget that shows money to the good. It has to be in a neat area, right?
And
So the second page,
the second page where I show it being
balance.
balanced, I've put that 66,000 in function 41 until we decide where it needs to go.
that's good.
Okay.
And then you can see on the pages that are stapled together, the actual budget amendment, you can see the very last item on that first page where it says adopted budget amendment to amend adopted budget. You can see attached the actual, all the different things that I changed. I kind of left the titles in there, which you usually don't, just so if you had a question, what's that 195,000, you could see I took the Seacoast loan principal down to where it's just for 1 quarter, not for a whole year. And so that's where the savings all came from, each one of those. And so you can actually see what I hit, what I changed. You'll see a lot of times the salaries, instructional, professional salaries went down is because when we actually hired somebody, it wasn't as much as the person who left. And so that saved us money all the way through to their benefits, Social Security. And so I just kind of looked at there so you could see all the big items that we hit. You can see on the last page, you can see the 200,000 improvement, the land improvements, the kind of the big ticket items that are there that we had discussed. And so we took all of those out of the budget, so they wouldn't even be there to spend.
So we were talking about keeping it there,
Well,
now you removed it.
I removed it because I didn't
Well,
feel
right
like
now.
y'all were comfortable
Okay.
with us
Right.
having it in the budget available
Right.
for spending. And so I went ahead and took it out, so it's not there for us to
But
spend.
we know where it's at.
You know, where's that? Well, it's out of the budget.
No, I meant, we know what the amounts are.
Yes,
the
we know
areas.
what they
We
are.
know what's been.
Yes, I've already,
So we
rolled
felt
our
like
budget
in the
forward for
last
next
meeting, we
year.
were talking about,
yes.
it's gonna take us 5 steps to get there, right? But we felt like when we were talking and looking around the table, y'all were focused on that number and we would talk. And it was like, it was not really understood. We didn't think the process was really understood. So Julie has taken those things out to get you where you want to be. Now it's a different conversation. You're there. This budget shows you a deficit of 1.246304. The Moki Casey budget, projected budget that we're going to bring to you shows you that we'll be adding 1,312,972 to it, which would take us over and not have a deficit budget. So we wanted to get you there so that you're good. Now, the only way you lose it is if you make an action, all right? So it's done. Once we get to the next meeting and we bring the new current law legislation in, that's the number that you'll be over a deficit budget, right? And then, again, but we never, in the budget preparations, want to do that. And that's why that first document has 2 pages. It shows you the 66, and then it shows you put somewhere else, right, in a need area. But when we come to the next meeting, it'll be a different conversation. But again, as long as that budget shows, again, we've done the budget on the 2,688, so we've reduced it 88, so keep in mind, right? We've made all those reductions. And so and we're gonna keep those numbers, right? And we're gonna roll forward. And then as school starts,
And we see what it is.
and we see what it is, we'll know whether we're gonna perform better than our budget or we're gonna perform, we'll know, and then we'll take it. The actions will be after the kids show up, right? Right, but we do have some other things that we need to talk about that are gonna be like, required money, for teachers, required money for staff support alignment. We do have some of those, because you can remember, those are gonna equal. You're gonna get this money for teachers, right? It's not a budget. You're gonna get this money, you have to spend it on raises. So we're gonna need to talk about that's not gonna change it. But what this does, approving this guarantees you that you have a budget that's not a deficit. And if we get to the next steps and you want to unfreeze some of that and redo it, that would be your option. Meaning, we kind of changed the conversation, right?
A motion and a second and discussion.
Right. Right. We kind of changed it. It's out unless you want to bring it back, rather than you having to worry about.
That's fine.
If you want to change it back, that's fine. We can do that. But I think it was going to be an easier conversation moving forward if we took it out. And so great job I
Yeah,
think
we just
Julie's
had-
perspective on
And
that.
especially, I was surprised with this salary spreadsheet, once we hired people, the differences, and you can see on the very first page, you know, there's almost 100,000 there in CTE and instruction that, 59, almost 60,000, you know, was a person that was taken out. We hired someone in that was cheaper in several different areas. And so it did make a big difference once I had a pretty much final, we've hired everybody we're gonna hire kind of thing. And that made it better.
Anybody have any questions about that? Good job. See how calm we are?
It is.
Yeah. All right, so we have a motion by Ray and a second by Becky to approve the proposed 2026 budget amendments. Any more questions or anything, comments? If not, then all in favor say aye. Aye. And all opposed, same sign. Okay, passes unanimously. Okay, our next item is to approve the 25-26 teacher retention allotment compensation schedule.
Okay, you'll take this document out, it's got the yellow highlight on the front. So this is those who've been on the board, you've seen this document over and over and over, and this was our hiring schedule, right? It's the teacher hiring schedule. Back in 2019, when that legislation came out, because of the way we had to give raises in and who was included, we called it teacher, nurse, librarian, counselor hiring schedule. So you can see at the top, I have in red with a red line, that means that's coming out, right? So it's gonna say 25-26 teacher hiring schedule, and then 25-26 teacher allotment. Because the money we're talking about for teachers at this point is only for teachers, right? So if you can imagine, this is the way in the past the board has liked to see this. I have the years of experience, which is a teacher scale, right? I have what was paid in 2023, 23, 24, 24, 25. And then you see the column of 25, 26, and it says DOI. Under that, counselors, nurses, librarian, we're taking that out. So if you can kind of read this. So keep in mind that the 25-26 teacher allotment that is giving us the money for the raises for teachers does not include a teacher that's on step 0, 1, or 2. All right? There is no money for a raise there. So you can see under the 25-26 DOI column, or even over to 24-25, that's what 57,000 is what we paid a beginning teacher. I've carried that over in the 25-26 DOI, and then to the right, 25-26 teacher. And I've kept it at 57. The same thing all the way across. And the reason I did that is that one of the rules is that if a teacher is not fully certified, meaning it's a DOI teacher, in the first step, in year 1, step 0, we can't pay them the same, okay? So I left it at 57, and there's a reason, and I'll get back to you why on the right, it still has, for the first 3 steps, it has the same number. So if you'll follow me down to where the highlight begins. So if we have a teacher that's on step 3, meaning they have 3 years of experience, right? They're in their 4th year teaching. You can see that it says they get step 2. So if you look above, that's the 50, when you look in the 25, 24, 25, or even the 25, 26 DOI column, you can see that that's that 58,350. So they get their step 2, which is 58,350, plus 4,000, and that gets them now to 62,350. So that's the way you follow that all the way down. When you get to step 5, meaning they're in their 5th year, or 5 years experience in year 6, right? You can see it changes to 8,000. So you can see they get to step 4, which is the 59,415, plus the 8,000, that brings them to 67,415, okay? So keep in mind, everything in the yellow is what we have to give, right? We don't have a choice. You have to approve that, okay? And when Julie's talking, when we bring the new legislation into the budget that you just approved, that will be part of it. It's required, right? And it's there. At the very bottom, you can see teacher 187-day contracts. The nurse librarian all the way through behavior coordinator, we're taking those off, right? Because this is only gonna be the teacher hiring scale, okay? If you turn the page, you can see we have our teachers that are outside of the scale. You can see we have some with 29 years experience, 31 years experience, and 36 years experience. Those teachers, because they qualify for 8,000 each as well, okay? So underneath that, let me explain this to you. What that is this is really just for our information, but I wanted you to see that. So Julie's talking to you about a Moak and Casey projection. That's done based on what we turned in PEMS last December. So last December, 24-25, you can see where it has 8K under that 151, 4K 13, 021. Based on that PEMS projection we turned in, because you had to have, remember it was a teacher code is an 087, right? Then they had to have an FTE, meaning how much they're teaching, right? And then they had to have years of experience. And so when you look at that, we turned in 151 teachers that would get an $8,000 raise. 13 teachers would get a $4,000 raise, and 21 teachers that would not receive money from the state, okay? Now, I will tell you, remember I talked to you about how we have to start paying attention to things in PEMS we've never had to pay attention before, because if we made a mistake, it didn't really matter. Well, we had several teachers that were coded wrong on FTEs. Meaning they taught at 2 campuses, but they only got credit for 1. Meaning they didn't get to the level that would earn them funding, right? So, to the right, where it says 25-26, that's where we are as of right now. We have 138 teachers that have qualified for the $8,000 raise, meaning this is information we're gonna turn in this December, all right? 138 teachers with the $8,000 raise, 8 with a $4,000 raise, 25 that money's not coming, and then as of right now, we have 3 open positions, and we have to wait. We have to wait and see what happens with employment to fill those in. Okay. Under that, I've kind of just given you we talk about these projections, right? We have over the past several years, we've had 2 people that we really rely on for projections. The first one's the Equity Center, and so in the planning, Equity Center, looking at our information, you can see the TAs, the teacher allotment, which we're talking about right now. You can see they estimate we're getting 1.3 million for that. Below that, the next thing we'll talk about will be the support staff allotment that we have to give. They show it at 108,133. The extra under there, that 147,150, is the computation for when you give raises, the TRS, the IRS, and the fees that come, the things that you have to supplement that we're responsible from that. And so that kind of shows you what money's tied up in there. Underneath that is the Moak and Casey. This is the one we go with. You can see that under the teacher allotment, the expectation is that based on last December would be the 1,232,005. And then the support staff that we'll talk about would be the 107,309, and then the extra tied up in that would be 139,928. Okay? If you come all the way to the right, the 25-26 again, based on the numbers right there, at right now, of 138 at 8,000, 8 at 4,000, 25 at 0, you can see the teacher, what the state's gonna, right now, that summary of finance, they're gonna preload that first number, the Moak and Casey or the Equity Center number. Then we're gonna submit in December, and there's gonna be a settle up, right? At some given point in March next year. There'll be a settle up between what they projected we will have and what we really have, right? So I'm showing you as of right now, if you hand calculate those numbers right there, the teacher allotment would be 1.136. The support staff, you could either choose the 108, 133, or the 107, 309, and the extra would be about 137. So that kind of just gives you a play of the land just to watch, right? Not a huge difference between those 2 numbers, but what you don't want to do is, because they give you the money up front with that, you need to know what that number is, because just because we give it lightly over here doesn't mean we have extra money to give a raise, right? Because there's gonna be a settlement. Right? That's why that's important.
We need to hold back some.
And we need to have the calculation. So this provides the calculation of what you need to put a bracket around. Okay?
Can you remind me, I think you said the money that we're getting from the state, that total will be not only this for the salaries, but that includes all your payroll taxes, your TR, like all that extra, or is that?
We got no money for that.
Oh, okay.
Right. So what they did is okay, here's our new legislation. So when you run it all through, this is when it tells up, let's say you're getting this $2.8 million. Now they're coming in and saying, your teachers are getting this much of it. You have to give that much of it to teach, right? So like in this case, if they give us the money based on that let's say that 1.3 million for teacher allotment, that gets loaded into our summary of finance, right? But then we load in next December or this coming December something a little different, that money goes away. We don't get to keep that extra. That money's gonna go away based on what we've turned into PIMS, if that makes sense. Now, when they did all that, right, it leaves a number, and that's that number that Julie has on that budget document, that Moki Casey, that we expect to be left over, right? That extra money for TRS, IRS has to come out of that money. The state didn't calculate that and say, here, right? We wish that would have happened. It's up to us to make it right? So meaning we have less money to spend. But we're calculating that money up front so that you know. Okay? So given the fact that nurses, librarians, and counselors are not gonna be on this scale anymore, we have to take them back and put them into our pay grade system, right? So what I've showed you is from last year, we have pay grade 3 or 4. So when we bring that compensation schedule and that pay scales to you, we're gonna slide this group of teachers, nurses, librarians, behavior counselors, all those people we've X'd out are gonna slide into either one of these categories. So I just wanted to give you information up front so that you know what's gonna happen, okay? So what we're asking you to do tonight is actually approve the page 1, which is the new teacher hiring schedule based on a 25-26 teacher allotment. That's what we're asking you to approve, okay? Now, if you flip to the 3rd page, at the very top, you can see we do have what's called the staff support allotment. That's based on the refined ADA times $45. It's gonna equal one of those two numbers. We're gonna go with the $107,000 number, okay? So now, for the $107,000, here are the groups that you have. This is everybody else in the district, other than the teachers that are getting a $4,000 or $8,000, right? So that the teachers on step 0 through 2, right? What I've done is I've just, I told you I was gonna give you a 1% number. To give those teachers a 1% raise is a total of $11,000, okay? And that includes all of the extra that would come with it. The next group is that group we're talking about that got taken off of the teacher scale. It's gonna be put in one of those pay grades, which is the athletic trainer, behavior coordinators, elementary, secondary counselors, instructional coaches, librarians, and nurses. To give that group a 1% raise is $16,100. If you drop down, professional security, DIAGs, LSSD, speech, social workers, coordinators, all paraprofessionals, all maintenance and grounds, all custodians, all child nutrition, all transportation, all technology, to give that group a 1% raise is $64,400. So at the very bottom, you look, you can see, I've just given you numbers, the 1% total all the way down for what we just talked about is $91,500. Keep in mind, you are required to spend at least the 107,309.
So that 107,309 used to be that 118 we used to talk about.
Yes, right.
So,
but that was on a dip. We're not using that. That was off an earlier calculation, based on new calculations and refined ADA, right?
It's not like we lost money necessarily.
Right,
it's just
right.
different.
This is the most recent and current update, so this is what we're using, right? So based on that, you've got to find a way to get the 91.5 to 107,309. Okay, I'm not asking you to do that tonight. This would be in the next board meeting. I'm just showing you that somewhere, somehow, you got to get it to that. Then, on the next page, you have campus and central administration. None of that money can be used or counted towards central administration or campus administration. So I'm giving you the same numbers of 1%, 0.5%, 25%, or 0.25% for that group. Okay.
So if I'm hearing you right, we gotta find that 91.
No, the 107's already accounted for.
Okay,
The 107's coming.
okay,
This is a wash.
All right.
You have to spend at least 107,309.
okay.
But right now, at
Right now,
1%
we're
rate,
at
it's only 91,000.
A 1% raise for that whole group, the money is $91,500. Clear as mud. So, meaning, you have to give, you don't have a choice, you're gonna have to approve, you have to approve this. The only thing you can do would be add more money to it. I'm not asking you now, but I'm just telling you, you have to approve this, because at a minimum, this is the minimum. If you wanna do more later, you can, okay? Page 3, which is the staff support allotment, you have to approve something for this group that at least equals 107,309 or more.
So we pretty much need to just figure out how many people are in there and divide the leftovers. About 60, could, I mean.
Yeah. But, yeah.
We'll just give them that's about 16,000, right?
Yeah.
About 16,000.
What? Like 6,000?
16,000?
Because we have to spend it in that category, correct?
In this category here. But keep in mind, these people make different, right? A teacher makes more than a custodian, right? So,
Could you just do well, here's your $500 bonus? Are you allowed to do those kind of things, or does it have to go into their
it
actual
has to be in salary,
So bonus is not going to
basic
their
salary. No.
You just need to find out, that's like 1.17% raise.
Right. Now, one of the things you could do 1%, and you could come back up and add to the teachers, right? If you remember I told you those steps, 0, 1, 2. You could come in and say, all right, 1% plus 1,000, 1% plus 1,000, to get your teacher steps up if you wanted to. Right? So meaning, again, it doesn't say you even have to give a certain group a raise. Just, these are the people that are eligible for the money. You figure out how you're gonna spend 107,309 at a minimum. Spend more if you want, but at a minimum, you gotta spend 107,309.
And we can know how many teachers are at 0 to 2 years.
Well, one of the things we'd have, if you're interested in doing something like that, we would have to give you that number, and we haven't.
I think that, and, yeah, see, and then, well, really even like the second group of people down. Yeah. Just so we can kind of see.
How many there are, you mean? Yeah.
How many people in the first two categories, how many people are in the first two categories? Because if there's only, I know there's not, but there's only 5 people in the 0 to 2, we don't want to spend all of our money up there.
Right.
'Cause then, would that be something easy to pull?
Let me ask.
We can get any information we want. The problem's gonna be
How is this gonna affect morale on?
huge.
Yeah.
It's like the one I gave to you. Let's just say, teacher and the instructional aides on campus have been working together forever, right? You have a situation, maybe certain people think a certain teacher's not, overly active, right? And the aides, instructional aides in the classroom have been doing this and this and this. And now we're running into a situation where the aides get a 1% raise and the teacher just got 8,000. Does that change? I would argue that it's going to, yeah.
Go in another direction, like, what does an assistant principal start out pay?
Depends on, could be, depending on where you're at, could be 65, could be 80.
You're gonna have a teacher making more than an assistant principal.
So keep in mind, again, that's the whole other bottle of wax. you have a teacher high up on the scale, now getting an $8,000 raise, getting very close. Now, if you break it down and do daily rates, you know, now, again, it's the question, what do you want to do? One of the things that have been talked at the legislative level is pay teachers enough to where they won't leave the classroom. They'll stay in the classroom. You can't argue with that.
Right.
We all agree with that. It's been done. But that's step one, right? Again, if you remember, in 2019, when the last historic came through, you know, we stepped up on stage at Convocation. Dennis Bonin was there. If you remember, we announced we just gave $1.2 million in personnel raises. And that covered the whole staff, and I think the minimum raise was 5% that year. Now we're 6 years later, 5 years later, and we're giving that same amount, but it's only going to the teaching staff of the district. So, yeah, is it gonna? Yes, it is going to. Again, when we talked about this in the legislation and how House Bill 2 started and where it wound up, can't argue. Everybody wants to pay teachers more. We all agree with that. Not a problem. It's the other things now. Can't be mad at the teacher. I mean, that's.
No, 100%. But the fact that they didn't give anything to give other people. that's-
Yep.
And remember these in category 3 down there, their hourly rate is gonna be lower and 1% is gonna be much less than it.
In a dollar amount, it will
in
be,
a dollar
yes.
amount.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, so it's still 1%, but
Right.
at the end of the day, it's not
Yeah.
really much going home in their pocket.
Right.
And then we think insurance is going up too, right?
Right, it is going up.
Yes.
It is going up.
Give 1%, they're still gonna lose more money.
Yeah, that's not gonna make much difference in their insurance.
So the suggestion was gonna be, right, we said we wanted to have this done by the August 19th meeting, right? Now, what we need to do is between now and then, I would assume we need to have at least one special, right? To bring back, you've asked for some information, you can email us with thoughts you have, and we can bring all that back to the next meeting to try to hone in on it. And then at the August 19th meeting, make it official, all right? That would be my suggestion, to have one special meeting. Again, we've got some action items we need to take on some legislation, but then we need to have a little budget, special, just to talk about, where do you think you want to go? Maybe how many people are in each group we have that information. Take us 1 minute to get those numbers and put them down.
Could we do all that on August 5th?
Yeah. Mhm.
Because we're already having a meeting then, correct?
No.
I thought we
I
were.
used the date
Okay.
of August 5th. I thought that would be a good date, right? And give us a couple of weeks, give Julie a couple of weeks to change the format a little bit, all right? By you approving the teacher scale, it allows the business office and HR to go ahead and move forward on teacher salaries, right? They can go ahead and get the information and get that stuff off their plate, right?
Can you bring us a list of the current, what we're paying currently for those positions, the other positions?
I can.
That way visual person, that way I can just look at it and see.
Okay. We have that. It's all there. We have that. Yeah, we don't want to do it.
Right.
There's a certain way to do that.
Yeah, I don't need names,
Yeah,
I just need to see
Mhm.
where we're at, or even an average, I don't even care if it's an average, but just to know
Yeah.
where we're at on those other positions.
Mhm.
Range or something.
Yeah, we can do that. That'll be easy. So unless you have any other questions, we just need to talk about a date to have a special. We don't have to, we can do that at the end of the meeting if we want to, but I would ask that you approve the teacher allotment, 2025-26 teacher allotment hiring schedule.
All right, we'll need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Jackie makes a motion and Greg seconds. All right, so All in favor of approving the 2025 teacher retention allotment compensation schedule, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. And now we're gonna get a motion to talk about our power provider agreement.
If I could make a recommendation, you just table that.
Okay.
So I gave you the information, you could see it, board book about the expected price. And I told you they were gonna reprice it today and it went up. And so my suggestion now, I mean, if it's gonna go up, we just ride it and wait. So my suggestion, we would just table it.
Just real quick on that, we're locked in, correct?
We're locked in to 2034
Okay.
at 3.89 cents.
Yeah.
And if you saw that, the previous one was a little over 5 cents.
Yeah.
And the information I gave you was that we had options like a 30-month option to lock in at 6 cents from 2034 to 2036, but today it went up to like 7.5. So given all that,
Yeah.
I think you write it out and
Yeah,
just wait.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So I was reading, some stuff come across the email, TASB's got some kind of power,
They do.
NRG, what is that all about compared to?
So it's a cooperative, just like it's a cooperative.
Yep.
The way they pull it, we've been Energy for Schools cooperative, if you saw the one that was at 5%. It's just, they run their own cooperative. You pull it, you get better pricing.
Yep.
And so I can tell you, there's been some local districts that, like, they're running out and locking in right now. They're locking it anywhere from 9 to 11 cents.
It's crazy.
And so that's why I thought the 6 was good. But I thought I was gonna, hey, let's go ahead and think about that. But it came back like a whole cent and a half higher. I was like,
Yeah.
Tell us when it goes back. So if you remember, those who were on the board, the last time we got in, the current contract we're in, we were gonna opt in, and then the day we were voting, it actually went down again. And so we got even a better deal, so it was good, but I would suggest we just wait now.
So given it changed,
And I'm subject to bringing, yeah,
would it benefit us to make some motion to allow you to lock us in when a rate goes down?
That's what I-
the answer would be yes, but I mean, I don't think you need to do that tonight. Let me bring it back to you.
Okay, all right, so I'll need a motion to table that item.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Ray makes a motion that we table consideration of future power provider agreement. Someone second?
Second.
Greg seconds. All in favor of tabling that motion, say aye.
Aye.
And so what I would, I like that idea, but let me talk and let's set a price point.
Yeah.
And if it gets there, we do it. If it doesn't, we don't.
Yeah.
Sound good?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, at that point, you can just tell the provider, hey, when it gets here, lock us in.
Oh, that's right. Perfect.
So,
Perfect.
All right, that's all of our action items, and now we have the consent agenda. We have the approval of minutes from June 17th, public hearing, June 17th, regular meeting, June 30th, public hearing, June 30th, special meeting, and approve of budget amendments and donations, approve our 2025-26 teacher appraisal calendar and appraisers, and to approve the MOU between NCCER accredited training program, and then approve child nutrition co-op vendors. Does anybody like to pull any of that to discuss? If not, I'll take a motion from someone to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have motion by Becky and a second.
Second.
All right, Becky second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Same sign. All right, very good. So we'll adjourn to our closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code, the Open Meetings Act, Section 551.